you can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time. Really grasp onto that. Also, why do you care so much about what other people think of you? Because guess what? The real secret is they're probably not thinking of you. That's the real secret. Let's rock, let's roll, let's go. Welcome to the Who You Know show, where what you know is important, but who you know can make all the difference in your wealth, health, business, career, your relationships, and definitely in your life. And we're here to help you to level up, to get noticed, and to connect to your next opportunity. So today's episode is pretty exciting, actually. Okay, I'm pumped for this one. It's for every job seeker out there over 50 who's really felt invisible to the world, right? You're in the digital job market and you just feel lost, right? We're not just talking about personal branding today. I'm actually going to show you how to build confidence, how to create authentic content, and how to stand out with the tools and the strategies that actually work to help you to get hired faster, okay? That's my job, okay, is to help you to get that job search and cut it down, okay? I want to help you to get there quicker, faster, right? So let's talk about what we're going to be covering in today's episode, all right? Your resume, guys, alone, just the resume is not going to get you hired. So many people think that, and they focus on the resume, and they're sitting there, and they're tailoring it, and they're putting keywords in it, and they're trying to game the system by putting white letter, keywords, stuffing it into the resume, or they're redoing it with ChatGPT and all this kind of stuff. They're just so hyper-focused on the resume. Guys, I want you to take that piece of paper, crumble it up, and throw it away. It's not the thing that's going to get you hired. Yeah, it's important. It's a piece of a marketing slick that shows that you have the skills and abilities, but it is only a formality. It's only a piece of the process. It is not the process, okay? Your personal brand and how you show up online in conversations, human conversations. This is what makes all the difference. So, in this episode, I'm going to be showing you a few different things. Number one, we're going to talk about how to overcome fear of other people's opinions, right? Because that's one of the biggest things I feel like holds people back. And I've struggled with it myself. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about how to use LinkedIn as your personal brand headquarters, okay? Even if your first video isn't perfect, okay? I'm going to show you how to really position yourself as the thought leader, the expert, and use it as a personal brand headquarters, okay? I'm going to show you how to turn every piece of content into a conversation starter, all right? An opportunity magnet. I want you to attract, not chase, okay? And that's how we do it, is through content. We'll talk about that. On another episode, you heard me talking about the 7 C's to careers and cash flow, which was consistent content creates conversations that converts into careers and cash flow. Right? So I'm going to be sharing with you how to turn every piece of content into a conversation starter. And then we're going to learn how to leverage AI tools to create more, faster, and without losing the human element. Okay? We still need the human element. We're not going to use AI to replace you. We're going to use AI to enhance you. Okay? And last but not least, I'm going to show you how to build confidence and overcome the imposter syndrome through action. That's how you battle this thing, is with action. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. Let's get into it. Let's rock. Let's roll. Let's go. Okay, so let's get into it. The fear of other people's opinions, right? It's the number one mindset shift that job seekers over 50 need to make. I really, truly believe this. right? Here's something that I want you to know is that we all struggle with that. I know I have struggled with that. As a matter of fact, one of my biggest fears in the world is public speaking. And here I am speaking to this camera. I got 3 cameras on me right now, speaking to a microphone, getting a message out there to the world. This used to terrify me. It used to literally, like, I would be shaking, terrified. Why? Why was I so terrified? What's so terrified about speaking to a camera or on a stage or whatever? Like, what? I had a public speaking fear. Why is that so scary? Right? It's actually the number 1 fear in the world, bigger than death. People are so afraid of speaking in public. Why? It's because they're afraid of the opinions of other people. They want to be liked. Okay? We have this like deep down, deep rooted insecurity of wanting to be accepted. Right? We want to be, it's like if you go back to being a child, it's like wanting to be accepted as a child. You know, when you go into the lunchroom, you know, you want to sit down with the cool kids, you know, you want to be accepted. You want people to like you. You want to be liked. Like nobody wants to be alone. I think that's the fear, is to be alone, to be isolated, right? If people don't like you, you're kind of like an outcast or what have you. So this is where some of these insecurities come from. And it's the fear of other people's opinions. It keeps you to shut your mouth. You're just quiet. You got something to say. How many of you have ever felt that way? You got something to say, right? And in an environment, maybe it's in an office environment, you want to say something, but you don't. You kind of like just, you're quiet. Why? And you feel your heart race a little bit because you want to. Like you have something to say deep inside. You have an opinion. You have a voice. You have this want to say and speak, but like there's like this struggle. Like, oh, I don't want to. Because what if someone challenges that thought? What if someone doesn't like that thought? What if someone looks at it differently? And so what that does is it keeps you stuck. It keeps you quiet. And my honest opinion on that is it's actually the enemy's way of keeping you from who you're called to be, from keeping you from greatness, from keeping you from great things, is to use fear as an intimidation tool to shut you up, right? Because imagine how powerful you could be, right? Look at some of the biggest leaders in the world. I mean, whether you like him or hate him, look at Donald Trump. That guy don't care what your opinion of him is. He has his own opinion of him, right? Again, like him or hate him, whatever you want to say about that. My point is, he ain't afraid of that. He's going to speak his mind. And he's the most powerful man on the planet right now, okay? So, it's important to let go of that fear of judgment, that fear of other people's opinions, because it's holding you back. And here's just something I want you to hold on to that can help you to let that go, right? Number 1 is you can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time. Really grasp onto that. You're never going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time. So if you're thinking about putting yourself out online and you're scared because you're like, I don't know if you're not going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time. And also, why do you care so much about what other people think of you? Because guess what? The real secret is they're probably not thinking of you. That's the real secret. Like, people don't really care. They have their own lives. They're busy. Okay? So they're not really thinking about you. So the other thing is that first video or that first newsletter or first, post that you do, when you finally start putting yourself out there, it's probably going to flop. Okay? It's probably going to suck. And that's okay. The first time you do anything, don't expect to be great at it. Okay? Like, if it's your first time posting content and you put your opinions out there and you start voicing yourself, you're probably not going to be that great. And that's okay, because you're just getting started. Like, imagine if Michael Jordan stopped shooting basketballs after he shot the first one and missed, like, because he missed. He didn't make the first shot he ever shot. You know what I mean? He missed. But he picked it back up and did another one, and picked it back up and did another one, picked it back, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. Like, you're not going to be great the first time you do anything. Don't expect to be. Okay? So that might scare you too, because you're like, oh, what if I post this and it sucks? Well, guess what? If you post it and it sucks, because it probably will, because it's your first time posting, no worries. No one's going to see it. That's the beautiful thing. The algorithm works that way. So if you got doo-doo content, guess what? No one cares, and no one's going to see it. The algorithm isn't going to show it to anybody. Okay? And you probably have a small audience anyways, because you're just getting started, so don't worry about it. You're stressing over nothing, okay? Because, again, you can't please 100% of the people, and no one's probably going to see it anyways the first time, unless it just is amazing. If it's amazing, yeah, you might crack off and go viral, okay? So worst case is no one sees it. Best case is everyone sees it, right? Which means you did good. All right? So that's what's important to know. Just get started, guys. You got to get started, okay? Every piece of content that you start sharing starts to build confidence. It starts to build your skill. It starts to really showcase your authority in what you do. And it starts to build brand awareness, okay? So I've got a person I'm thinking of, actually. His name's Mike Matarian. And Mike Matarian came through my Career Transition Summit years and years and years ago. I've actually helped him 3 separate times with this. He's landed 3 separate jobs from this strategy by building a personal brand on LinkedIn. And he's, I'm going to tell you, he's gotten millions of views, and jobs were finding him. He was not applying online. The jobs were coming to him, and that was amazing. It's a whole different game. Guys, whole different game when they come to you. Inbound lead. An inbound lead is, it's gold, because they already want you. All you got to do is close the deal, knock it down, okay? And so that's what building a personal brand will do for you. It helped him land a job 3 separate times, millions of views on LinkedIn he got. He started getting interviewed. People were asking him to interview, asking him to speak. They brought him on the news, okay, because of this. So he wasn't chasing. He was attracting, okay? And that's what I want you to do. And that would have, the fear of other people's opinions would have prevented him from doing this. But Mike had confidence, okay? And confidence doesn't come from thinking about it. It comes from doing it, okay? You get better over time. And when you get some wins, those wins start to stack up and they start to build confidence. It's like a muscle. You're not going to get swole the first time you go to the gym. You're going to have to go consistently. So it's the same thing. Confidence comes through consistency and consistent wins over time, okay? But we got to get over the fear of other people's opinions, okay? Now, the next thing that we want to do as part of your arsenal, okay, to help you in this digital job market, right? If you're over 50 and you're feeling invisible right now, my goal here is to make you visible. So what do? Well, the next thing we want to do is we want to create a video resume, okay? Remember how I told you earlier the black and white resume is kind of trash. It's kind of doo-doo. Like, let's just be real about it. It's trash. Okay, you applying online, you're seeing how it's effective. Is it effective? No, it's not effective. You're applying. It's not doing anything. Okay? I want to know the human behind the text. So that's what we want to do is we want to create a video resume that we can feature this on your LinkedIn profile. We can send it to people. We can use it to attract opportunities and show them who you are, what you do, the problem you solve, how you solve it, and why you're the best fit for the job. Okay? And we want that positioned right there on your LinkedIn profile in the featured section. So as soon as they hit your profile, they see your banner, they scroll down, bada bing, bada boom, there's your video. They click on the video, okay? And now I'm getting an understanding of who you are. Okay, so here's the formula that I give to folks that I help in my Career Transition Summit, all right? Here's the formula for your video resume. Like, a lot of people are like, well, what should I say in the video, okay? So first is just an opening line like, hey, and you could even say like, hey, this is my first LinkedIn video, right? Why is that important? Because people like to support, hey, this is your first time. Hey, people on LinkedIn will want to support it actually, right? Wow, it's your first video? Awesome, man, right? Hey, this is my first LinkedIn video. My name's Trevor Houston. And then you want to give your title, HR manager or whatever. And then what you want to do is use your XYZ statement. So what is the XYZ statement? The XYZ statement is I help X. X is your target market. Okay. Accomplish Y. Y is the problem you solve using Z. And Z is the method for solving that problem. Okay. So as an example, I'll just do one for myself. I help executive job seekers get hired faster by helping them create video resumes, right? That could be one just quick one-liner, right? So think about that. If somebody asked you, right, at a lunch, hey, what do you do? Yeah, I help executive job seekers get noticed and get back to work faster by helping them to put together video resumes. Right? Like, think of it as almost like a conversation one-liner. I help X accomplish Y using Z. Okay? So that's the next piece of your video resume. And then you want to say what you're looking for next. Talk about some future topics that you're going to cover in your content. Right? You're teasing. You're saying, hey, here's a few, be on the lookout for more content where I'll be discussing X, Y, Z. Okay? You're kind of teasing that. And then we want to have the reason for the video, the purpose of the video, right? Which is, I'm making this video because I'm currently seeking an opportunity in X, Y, and Z. And then what you want to do is have a call to action, okay? So if you know anyone, don't hesitate to send them my way, or you can connect with me here on LinkedIn or email me at so-and-so and so, right? So that's kind of the formula, right? And you can actually use ChatGPT to help you put that together, but it's real simple. Like, this video is not complicated. We're not going into super detailed about your resume and all of that. This is like just a little video intro, right? Just a little intro video. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've had people that we've had great, amazing results with these videos. It's phenomenal. I had a lady come through the Career Transition Summit. She was... she was like, did not want to do this. I'm going to tell you that right now. She kind of fought me on it for a long time. Like, I had been talking to her about it for a while. She didn't want to do it. Because, again, the fear of other people's opinions. But once she got to a point where it was like, she had been in the job search, I think, for like 9 months or something like that. It had been a long time, and she's got to a point where it was like, I'll do anything. Like, I'll try anything at this point. Right? How many of you feel that way? Like, it's so stressful for you, and you're like, I'll try anything, right? Well, she got to that point, and we put together a video resume for her. She did that, and I'm telling you, This is no lie. Within 24 hours of posting that video, a former CEO that she worked for saw her video and hired her within 24 hours. Guys, that's the power of visibility, right? Now, obviously, I'm not saying that everybody's going to get that type of result. That was an amazing result. How cool is that? 24 hours later. But that's the power, right? I've had people literally post their videos and get 5 interviews in just a couple of days. You know, I mean, great things. And people land from these from these video resumes. I had one lady, she made one and it didn't really help her the first time around. But then 3 years later, she was back in the job search and someone found her video on YouTube because they Google searched her name. They typed her name into Google and boom, her video popped up on YouTube. And they saw it, and it started interviewing her from that video. They found her from her video that was on YouTube. The second time around, it was 3 years later. How cool is that? So I've got so many stories on the video resume. It's super powerful. You need it. You got to have one. Like if you don't have a video resume in your arsenal as a job seeker, what you doing? Okay? Especially when I'll help you put it together. Come through my Career Transition Summit, and I actually help you put it together. Okay? Like the editing and all of that, you don't have to worry about all that. I don't want you to worry about all that. The first thing that we do when we come through the Career Transition Summit is I show you how to get that script written. We get the script written, and I'm going to pretty much handle the rest. Okay? I'm going to show you how to record it. We will actually edit it for you. Simple process. Okay. So all you have to really focus on is writing that and then delivering it. And I'm even going to show you ways to deliver it that you could use AI to make it simple. Okay. We're not going to overthink this. It's not that difficult. You can do it. Okay. So we're going to do a video resume. The next thing that will help you to stand out and to be more visible is to understand that long-form content really pays dividends. It's the reason why right now I'm doing this podcast interview. This podcast interview right now that I'm going over this long-form content is going to be the foundation for an entire content ecosystem. This conversation that I'm talking right now on camera, this long form video, can be turned into a content machine. Okay. So we create a long form episode using Riverside.fm is a great, phenomenal tool. There's other tools out there, but this is the one that I recommend because Riverside, it's like a high-end Zoom. Imagine Zoom with all the AI content tools built in. So you can record, have a conversation on camera, and then Zoom or Riverside will actually make your reels. It'll chop it up. You can use AI to turn you into like baby, the baby podcast type stuff. You can do that. You can then use the transcription of that conversation to write newsletters. You take the transcription, guys, and that's a gold mine. The transcription you take over to ChatGPT, paste it in there, and tell ChatGPT, "Hey, write a newsletter in my tone of voice." Right? Extract the quotes, the most powerful quotes in my tone of voice. Write polls. Carousels, those little sliders, carousels. Like, guys, this is how people create a whole content ecosystem, is because they use the Gary V method. The Gary V method is to take long form content and then chop it up and repurpose it and slice and dice into a million different ways. But it starts with that long form video. Okay? So, listen, it's super important. This is how you speak authentically as well, by the way, because when you're on video, you're speaking like I am right now to the camera. It's very authentic. It's genuine, right? Yeah, I have a cheat sheet here. I got notes. This keeps me on track, okay? But I'm just having a conversation. I'm not reading word for word. Don't use it as a script. I want you to use an outline. I have this to keep me, like I prepared an outline and I used AI to help me prepare the outline. I know the material because this is what I do every day. I know the material, but I used AI to help me to create this outline to keep me structured. So I can just talk about it. And I got notes I could go to. Easy peasy. Have a long form conversation on camera. You can do it, I promise you. It's what I'm doing right now. And you know what? The first time you do it, guess what? You may not be that great at it. But remember, that's okay. That's all right. And you know what? There may be still some clips in there, some content in there. It doesn't matter if you're great at it. We can still extract a whole bunch once we have a long form video. We can get some clips. We can get some content. We can do it. And you'll get better over time. Another thing you could do with that long form content strategy is a mock podcast. A mock podcast. Oh my gosh. I love this. The Job Seeker Podcast. Before I apply, tell me why. Right? Think about that. Or whatever you want it to do. It doesn't have to be, job seeker focused even. It could be leadership insights. It could be whatever. But think about a mock podcast that you are launching. You are in your first season and you're pre-recording all your episodes to launch your first season. And I want you, and whether you ever actually release it or not, I don't care about that. If you release it on a podcast channel like Apple and Spotify, great. If not, that's cool. You don't need to. You can still do YouTube, and YouTube's actually a podcast channel itself. Use YouTube. But what we're doing here is we are going to then invite decision makers, invite industry leaders, invite people that do what you do, people that do the level above what you do, and I want you to start interviewing them, showcase them, highlight them, spotlight them, add value, build relationships, and position yourself as the connector, okay? So you're going to record that conversation, and then you're going to chop it up into micro content, okay, using the same strategy. We're going to use Riverside, use the AI to chop it up for you. It'll slice and dice it. It'll extract the most viral moments of that conversation for you. And then tag the company and tag the people that you were interviewed, right? So huge strategy, guys. This really, really helps you to get noticed. It's amazing. And remember, people don't just hire resumes. They hire voices, faces, and confidence. Okay? They're not just hiring the resume. All right. So those are a couple strategies using long form content that will really pay dividends in the long run, okay? That's how you're going to attract opportunities. Let's talk about humor, storytelling, and authenticity. Why is that important? Because when you're building your personal brand, I want you to use humor as much as you can, okay? And maybe that's not your style, and that's okay. You be authentically you is just super important. And if you're not that like funny kind of guy or whatever, like some creators are hilarious. Like I want you to think about content creators that are funny. You know what I'm talking about? Look, they perform. Their content does very, very well because they're funny. And humor is a universal love language, okay? And it builds trust and likability really fast, extremely fast. So if you can use humor, do it. If you're more, if your style is more, like my style, I can interject in comedy here and there. Like I consider myself a funny guy, but in this context of what I'm doing here, typically, it's more authoritative. It's more like I'm educating. I'm telling you. I'm showing you the way. Follow me. Come with me. Right? Let me show you. Do this. You got to try it. Right? It's more authoritative. And that's just who I am. That's my style. Okay? But that's authentically me. But every once in a while, like if I have someone else in the studio with me and we're bantering back and forth, you may get some humor out of me. I want to interject some of that. Right? So you got to put some of that in there if you can. All right. Humor is super impactful if you can use it. Storytelling. So facts tell, stories sell. All right? Facts tell, stories sell. When you're just saying something like, yeah, helped a company save $10 million. Okay, those are the facts. But tell me the story behind it. I want to know, what were the challenges? What were the pitfalls? What were the obstacles? How did you navigate it? What did you do differently? What was the emotional impact that it had on the company when you saved them $10 million, right? Like, go through a story, because the story has emotions tied to it, okay? Like, I was telling you earlier, if you remember in this episode, I talked about, let's see, what was it that I was talking about? I was talking about Mike Matarian. Okay, Mike Matarian, right? And I told a story about him, about how he overcame the fear of other people's opinions to put himself out there and created all the content to get himself noticed, right? The story I was telling about him, right? The facts are, yeah, he got 3 jobs. Like, I could have just said, yeah, I knew a job seeker. He got, I helped him get 3 jobs. That's the fact. That's a fact. That's the data point. Yeah, I helped him get 3 jobs. What was the story behind it? Right? Go into a story about how he was a, struggling job seeker, wasn't getting noticed, and, dealing with rejection and depression and anxiety, and was really fearful about, watching his financial world collapse, and, he was stressed out. And he comes through my Career Transition Summit. We start working together, and I show him a few strategies. And one of the strategies that Mike really leaned into was building a personal brand. But I'm going to tell you, he had to get out of his own way, because he had the fear of other people's opinions. And he had to get out of his own way. And see, now I'm telling a story about how he landed those 3 jobs and what he had to overcome and all of that stuff, right? It connects more. It just does. So facts tell, stories sell. Okay? I want you to remember that. Share your wins. Share your failures. Share the lessons that connect. Okay? So nothing teaches a lesson better than failure. Okay? When you fail, trust me, there's lessons in it. What did you do? Take accountability even. Accountability is a superpower. Take accountability for where you messed up. So, and what you learned from it. I think that's super important. So that is something else that you can do as you're building your content ecosystem, is to share stories and lessons and be vulnerable even. Be authentic, okay? All right, now let's talk about overcoming imposter syndrome. This is a big one. I remember when I first got into financial services, I had imposter syndrome because I didn't know what I was talking about. Okay. And I wasn't able to get consistent reps in to talk about it. Like, I was learning these new things, and then I had to go take those new things I was learning and go teach someone else. But, I wasn't getting that opportunity enough. And when I did, I would have an imposter syndrome about it. And so, I was doing things, I was being fake. I put on fake glasses and a suit and tie and tried to make myself look smarter. It was an insecurity. I tried to make myself look smarter and more educated so that people would listen to me. I had imposter syndrome, right? And you start thinking in your head, who am I to share this? Well, the only way to silence imposter syndrome is through action. You got to just do it. Okay? And to start to see results from that. So again, I remember when I first started helping job seekers. Here's another example. When I started helping job seekers, I didn't know if any of these strategies would really work. Right? I knew what their challenges were. I knew what their problems were, and I had ideas. But that's all they were at that time. They were just ideas. They were concepts, right? So I'd have this idea like, ooh, I would do this. Ooh, I would do that. Ooh, I would do this. Ooh, I would do that. And, I had imposter syndrome, though, because I didn't have a track record yet. I didn't have any, results. So imagine if my imposter syndrome and my fear of imposter syndrome would have gotten in the way of me sharing those ideas. Whenever I had an idea, ooh, that's a ding idea, right? I would do this. I would try this, right? If I were in their shoes, I would do this, right? Whenever I had those ideas, imagine if I let that fear of imposter syndrome, the fact that I didn't have any results, to stop me from sharing that idea. Gosh, so many job seekers wouldn't have got a job. Or it would have took them, they still would have got a job, but it would have took them way longer. Right? So, Danelle Delgado says it best. She says, who loses if you don't win? Who loses if you don't win? So you got to get out there. You got to share it, okay? And I started to talk about it. I started to tell people, hey, I got this idea. This is what I would do. I would try this, try that, try this, try that. I kept sharing. I kept refining that message, kept tweaking it, all right? And then eventually people got bought into it, right? They were like, oh, wow, that sounds great. I'm going to try it. And I said, hey, I just want to know, just give me the results. Share with me the results. And they would come back to me like, oh, my gosh, this and that and the other, and I just got this email back, and just this connected, and that happened, and this happened, and I just got a job, and people were running up to me. So literally, I've had people jump into my arms and thank me for helping them get a job because of the strategy I taught them, right? And it was just, at one point, it was just a ding, it was just an idea, right? I didn't have any evidence to support it. It was just a thought, right? But action is how you kill imposter syndrome. You have to do it over and over and over. You have to just put yourself out there anyways. Do it scared. And through those reps, right, you'll start to see results and wins, and confidence will start to build. And pretty soon, you're going to get to a point where you're like, I got this. I can do this in my sleep. This is actually what, right now, as I'm recording this podcast, I remember my very first episode, January 31st, 2018. The very first episode of this show. You can look it up. And you will see me, and if you notice, I want you to go look at this episode. I am terrified, absolutely scared. I have notes, too. My notes are shaking, my legs bouncing like crazy. I'm so afraid. I got cotton mouth, okay? Can barely speak. I got cotton mouth, and I'm drinking water. I'm just like, if you could only know what was going on in my head. And I even had to have other people, okay? I had Mark and Foster, and we had a guest. There was 4 of us in the studio that day. I had to have other people, and I was still terrified, scared out of my mind. But I did it anyways. You have to do it scared, right? Growth happens outside your comfort zone. You just have to. And then do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again until you start to build muscle and you get good and you start to build confidence. Look at the way I'm speaking now. It's completely different. Look at that episode. Look at this episode. Night and day. That's what I want you to do. Look at episode 1. You can look it up on YouTube. Look at episode 1. Look at this episode. We're now over 500. I don't even know the number anymore. I know it's well over 500. Probably getting into the 600 range. Okay? It's reps. Okay? You need to take action. So action beats perfection every single time. We need your wisdom, okay? And you need the reps to learn how to sell it. Okay? We need your wisdom, and you need the reps to learn how to sell it. Action beats perfection. Action beats perfection. Every single time. All right. So remember that. That's how we're going to overcome imposter syndrome, is just simply through action. Do it. Do it anyways. You're scared? You got imposter syndrome? Do it. Say it. Speak it. Talk. Right? That's how we're going to overcome. All right. Now I want to go over, switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to talk about some quick wins to help you to boost your visibility. Okay? Quick wins. So one of these ways is you could create a LinkedIn event page and do a free training or a LinkedIn Live. I love this because you're hitting multiple things with this strategy, because when you do a LinkedIn Live or you create an event page to do a training, like maybe it's on Zoom, right? Or even Riverside for that matter, you're creating that long form content, which we talked about earlier. You're creating the long form content. You're educating. You're the expert. You are putting on a training that solves a certain problem. Okay, but you're going to connect this to a LinkedIn event page. And so you're basically going to be doing this live in front of an audience. Okay, you're going to be delivering this talk, right? Whatever talk that you're giving, I want you to now do this in front of an audience, an online audience, whether it's on Riverside, Zoom, or even LinkedIn Live itself. Have that audience. So the live audience, we started our show live from the very first episode back in 2018. Going live creates pressure. Pressure creates diamonds, okay? So, and it also helps you to stay consistent. If you know, like, let's say you set a schedule for yourself and you say Wednesdays at 3 o'clock, okay? Well, guess what? You got to show up Wednesday at 3. So, but by creating this LinkedIn event page, what's really cool about doing that is you're offering a session to solve a problem for somebody, to make their life easier, to add value to their life. You're positioning yourself as the expert, and bonus, you can invite up to 1,000 people per week to your event page. 1,000 connections per week. Okay? Then you'll do the other strategy we talked about. You're going to record it, you're going to repurpose it, and you're going to share it to the world and tag anyone that was involved in it. Tag a company who might be interested in seeing it, things like that. So that's a quick win to create visibility. Again, you can invite 1,000 people per week to that event page. Super cool. Another thing you could do is to launch a LinkedIn newsletter. So newsletters are awesome. Very, very cool. I remember when they came out a few years ago, and people were kind of like, I don't know, I'm going to do a newsletter. What's different from a newsletter from an article? Because they always had LinkedIn articles, and LinkedIn articles were kind of dying, so they came out with newsletters. The difference is you build a following around your newsletter, and LinkedIn actually emails it to your following on your behalf. Okay, so they will put it in their inbox. So not on LinkedIn. Yeah, it is on LinkedIn, but they literally put it in their inbox. So, and the cool thing is on your very first publication, they actually send an invitation to your entire following on LinkedIn. Everybody that you follow, everybody that follows you. Let's say you have 1,000 followers. Well, they're going to send an invitation to 1,000 people on your behalf, asking them if they would like to subscribe to your newsletter. And it comes in the form of, it looks almost like a connection request. It's basically yes or no. It's not like anything special. They either click yes or they click no. Okay? And what we find is there's actually like a 30 to 40% yes rate. Why? Because it's a yes or no question. It's like easy. And there's like a high acceptance rate. So if you had, let's just put it this way. If you had 1,000 connections and you did this, you would get around 300 subscribers. Okay, your very first publication. Boom. Or 300 to 400. Boom. Right? because they sent it out to 1,000 people. They sent that invitation out. So huge on visibility. And now you're in their inbox. You're now in 300 to 400 people's inbox, right? I remember Shay Rowbottom, shout out to her. She's a LinkedIn influencer, and she had like 700,000 followers already. 700,000 followers. She was huge. And I remember I kept telling her, you have to do this newsletter. You have to do this newsletter. You have to do this newsletter. She finally took me up on it, and she was asking me questions, how to do it, how to set it up, how to da-da-da-da-da. And I told her, you got to do it, because watch, you're going to freaking crush it, because you already have 700,000 followers. She published her first one, and I think she got 100,000 subscribers her first, like, click that button, boom, 100,000 subscribers. Something crazy like that, right? It was stupid. Like, you're in 100,000 emails now. Like, that's valuable. There's huge value in that. Anyway, my point is, the newsletter is a great tool to help you to boost your visibility quickly. The other thing is that, again, personal content. To create long form video, chop it up, and use that transcription of the conversation to create all kinds of different content, right? So you want to create newsletters, you want to create quotes, polls, all that kind of stuff, and you use the transcription of the conversation that you had, okay? And another way that you can do this content creation, there's AI tools out there. Again, Riverside is one. You can use photo.ai.com, which is really cool because it creates AI photos of you, high-end resolution AI photos that look, they're very, very realistic, high-end. They look like you. So good. So you take those photos over to Canva, and then you add a quote bubble on it. You'll see this in my content. If you take a look, you'll see a bunch of those. And then you add a little quote bubble, and you put quotes. Where do you get those quotes? You get those quotes from the transcription. So these are things that you've actually said. High-end quotes, like the viral quotes, things that are powerful. So you can extract those using the transcription. Boom, take them over to Canva. Bam, now you've got great quote posts that you can put out there, right? Another thing you can do with content is for visibility is you can use HeyGen. HeyGen is a AI video tool which creates a AI avatar of yourself, which is super cool. I love it. You can create you can actually create an avatar of yourself that's realistic like this. You can create avatars out of pictures. So let's just say I put a picture of a dog in there, and then I had a picture of a dog. Actually, I did this this recently. A picture of a baby me. I turned myself into a baby, and then I spoke into a microphone what I wanted the baby to say, and it turned that image into a video. So the HeyGen is super cool. Love that tool. Allows you to be very, very creative with video, and you don't really even have to get on camera. Like, you don't even really have to get on camera. Now, is there still purpose for this, what I'm doing right now? Absolutely. There's still purpose for this. There's purpose for both types. AI video, authentic video, genuine video like this. But the point is, these are some tools, guys. Start using AI. Start using tools that are out there to kind of really, like, get your content out there and build your personal brand to help give you a quick boost of visibility, okay? Remember that 1 hour of recording can create an entire month's worth of content, and it's authentic and it's in your voice, okay? So love that. That's kind of some quick hacks to get some visibility. Now, I want to give you some other ideas here. All right, here's a quick spin. All right, I want you to know that, like, this episode, we've covered a lot here, but it really flips the entire script. Right? It takes you from, I'm too old to stand out online. Like, I hear that. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm just too old for that. No. We're flipping the script here. You're not too old. We're going to flip that to I'm exactly what the company's looking for. Okay? I'm wise. I'm relevant. I'm human. Okay? Let's get you out there to the world. Stop hiding. Okay? So let's get you out there. Look, age is not your enemy. I want you to remember that. It's your edge. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Age is not your enemy. It is your edge. Okay? Your focus becomes your reality. Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you're right. And if you think that your age is your enemy, then it is. If you think that it's your edge, then it is. Okay? Your beliefs. What are your beliefs about yourself? Age is not your enemy. It's your edge. Experience isn't a liability. Okay? Remember that. You're not overqualified. You're overqualified. No. That just means it's a money issue. That's a money issue, which we can talk about that on another episode. But experience isn't a liability, guys. It's a differentiator. Right? They just need to see that. You need to showcase that. And remember this, your story is the bridge between your experience and your next opportunity. Stories sell. Okay? Facts tell, stories sell. And your story is the bridge between your experience and your next opportunity. So, here's a couple of outside the box moves that you can do to help you to boost that visibility. So, remember, we can, if you're creating content, we've talked about that, batch record your content. Okay, batch record it. Do it all at once. Like a lot of people get stressed out. How do I stay consistent? Batch recording. Today, I'm actually in this studio. I'm going to be here for 4 hours today. I'm recording 4 hours of content, and that is so much content you have no idea. Like people always ask me, how are you able to do all that? Because I get in front of a camera and talk. And once I do that, I have a AI content machine that starts extracting all of it. But I got to get behind a camera and talk first. Okay? So use the AI after that and let the machines do the heavy lifting for you so that you can go back to focusing on authenticity and focusing on what you do best and focusing on the other things. Like you don't need to do this. This doesn't need to be a full-time job. What you need to do is go take a day and just focus on content that whole day. Batch record everything. Okay? And then let the AI do the rest. All right? Another thing you do, invite decision makers onto a mock podcast. We talked about that. Tag them in the company to build the buzz. Use LinkedIn. Another thing you could do is you could use LinkedIn audio name pronunciation feature to kind of like record an elevator pitch for yourself. And it helps you to really build your brand a lot faster than text. So again, this is a feature on LinkedIn where you go here and you have to do it from mobile, but it's name pronunciation. And so instead of saying, just Trevor Houston, you could say, hi, my name's Trevor Houston, and I help job seekers connect with opportunities by XYZ, right? You just use your XYZ statement. Contact me to learn more about how I help job seekers get noticed and take control of the financial impact of job loss. I think that's exactly what mine says. So that's another one. And just remember, guys, content is connection. Content is connection. So every post, every video, newsletter, everything that you put out there to the world, it's a seed that you're planting. Some of them can sprout instantly, and some of them take time. Okay? So here's my call to action. I always like to end these episodes with a specific call to action for you because I know I've talked a lot. Okay? I got the gift of gab. I can do that. But I want to leave you with a roadmap, a call to action, so that you don't leave this episode thinking, okay, like if you just listen to this and do nothing, then, guys, that's a waste of time. Knowledge is not power. The application of knowledge is power. Okay? I want you to think about this. We have so much knowledge out nowadays. AI, come on now. The knowledge is abundant. We don't have any shortage on knowledge. What we have a shortage on is action. Okay? So here's your call to action. I want you to record your first LinkedIn video. your video resume. All right, I want you to use that script, tag me in it so I can help cheer you on. I can support you. Okay? I want you to do that. I want you to create a LinkedIn event page for a free session, right? A free a talk that you're going to give, adding value, solving a problem, and invite your network. Okay? Or start a newsletter sharing your wisdom about the problems that you solve. Because people need to hear your voice, your knowledge, it needs an audience. And who loses if you don't win? So get your message out there to the world. So one of those three. I want you to do one of those three. Pick one right now. Right? You can record a LinkedIn video resume. Right? We can do that. Create a LinkedIn event page and give a talk. Right? We're going to give a talk. Or start a newsletter. Which one's it going to be? Right? And each one of these, I want you to just simply tag me on it so I can support you out there online and we can show some love. And I am supporting you. I am rooting for you. I just can't wait until you get back to your cash flow. Let me know if you ever hear any strategies on this show that you are like, man, that is so powerful. I used it. I applied it. It worked. I can't believe it. Guys, share those stories with me. They keep me going. They actually fill my cup back up because I pour my cup out a lot. And look, sometimes I need to hear those. Share them with me. Nothing lights me up more. It's why I do this. Okay? I don't just do this for fun, for clicks. All right? Look, I want to hear your stories. I want to hear when you have those wins. I love seeing. Nothing drives me more than seeing transformation. Okay? So again, that's your call to action. And I just would love to hear your feedback. If you get any types of results, let me know. All right? I'd love to hear that. Now, I got one last question for you. As we wrap this up, I want you to think about this. What would happen if you stopped worrying about what other people think and started showing the world what you know? Guys, that's the show. It's all about who you know. Bye.